We are to put off the old man and replace this with the new man. And all of this is to be just the Lord Jesus Christ, who is to live out his life through us. But we live in a foreign element here in this world. We still have the problem with sin. So we need certain directives. We are not sufficient in ourselves to be able to recognize always when there is the new life in manifestation. We are not always sufficient to be able to tell when there is that coming up which shouldn't be there. So we are given certain guidelines here in the Scriptures. We've already discussed two of them, listed for us in verses 15 and 16. We were presented in verse 15 with the arbitration of the peace of Christ. The peace of Christ is to be the continual judge or the umpire in our lives. We are first to learn to appropriate that peace. The peace of Christ, or as it is called also the peace of God, it is the perfect inner peace that is to keep the mind and heart, to keep one in stability. This peace of Christ is the guide for us, so that when you begin to get into some turbulence, when you begin to experience turbulence, you should stop and consider, there's something wrong here. I need to redirect my course. I've somehow gotten off the track. The peace of Christ is to call the signals. And then we are to have also, though, as another guideline in the life, the enrichment of the Word of Christ. We discussed that last Sunday as it is presented here in verse 16. We need the enrichment of the Word of Christ to dwell in us richly in all wisdom. We are to allow the Word of Christ to have its full work in us, so that we are equipped to be able to admonish one another, so that our lives are enriched in such a way that there pours from us psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, and that there is the singing with grace in our hearts, that there is the overflow of our lives that really ministers to the Lord. This is something that we ought to learn to do, that I think that many times we fail to realize that we are supposed to be ministering to the Lord. In the book of Acts, it tells about those early Christians that they fasted and ministered to the Lord. Now, ministry to the Lord is one of worship, of course, and praise unto Him. And it can only really come off from the overflow of the life, and that overflow of the life comes from letting the Word of Christ dwell in us richly.